swear to protect the travelers of the light and bring my vengeance to those who would do them harm.
What's up, everybody? I'm a teleworker. Today we're reviewing Moon Knight. I just watched the last episode right now. As a whole, I love this show. It is fantastic. However, as an individual finale episode, I was very mixed. This was listed as a limited series for the Emmy Awards. If that is the case, according to the rules of the Emmy Awards, a limited series classifies as something that is not an ongoing show. It's one and done. It's over. So unless we're gonna see Moon Knight again soon in the movies, this is all we get for now. My biggest problem with that, if that's true, is we will never see Jake Lockley get the same treatment that Stephen Grant got. We spent the whole show learning to love Stephen, learning who Stephen is, what Stephen is like, why Stephen was created to help Mark. We're never going to get that with Jake if we don't get a season 2, because the movies will never have the time to give us that level of depth for his character. So that worries me a lot. I also was a little thrown off with them making Layla a superhero at the end. Her character's cool. Her costume's dope. She kicks ass. I liked her. But I don't really know where they're going with that. Especially if we're not getting a season 2. That's kind of a random thing to throw in there at the end. So here's my take. If we get more of this show, because they waited to announce Loki season 2 as well. So if we get a season 2, then I love this finale. If we don't get a season 2, I hate this finale. Because we'll never get that level of depth to explain the new things that they've set up in the movies. If Mark is featured as a background character, he's never, even if he's a main character, like if they do Midnight Suns, which has been rumored for a while, even if he's a main character in whatever team he's in, we will never get a full-fledged story arc like we got for Stephen Grant. And that worries me a little. If we get a season 2, I'm fully on board with everything that they set up. I'm interested in seeing what they do with Layla's character. I'm interested in seeing what they do with Jake. But if we don't, then I'm really disappointed with the way they threw this together. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. Now, back to the stuff that I love about this show. This show always keeps you guessing, which is like my favorite thing about the show. They constantly do fake out twist endings. You never know what's real and what isn't. And that kept me thoroughly hooked. I was constantly trying to guess what was going to happen. Now, I've read some of the comics. I was reading the Lemire run. I don't know how to pronounce it. But I was reading that when it first started. I think that was like 2016. I could be wrong, but those comics they heavily borrowed from for the show. There's a lot of, specifically the episode 5 storyline where Mark's in the asylum and he has to learn to let go of his personalities, and they even recreated one of the shots kind of where Mark and Steven hug each other and they're in those gray and white clothes. As soon as I saw that at the end of episode 4, I was like, oh fuck, they're gonna make us cry. Like I knew was that I didn't think we were gonna get Steven back, honestly. I thought what they were gonna do is ground it by the end and we would just have Mark. And that worried me because then I thought we were never going to see Jake, because if Mark becomes whole by the end of the series and he doesn't need his personalities anymore, then what are you going to do about Jake? But again, it was another fake out. It kept us guessing. It made me wonder what the fuck was going to happen with Jake, and we just found out. I love the way they used Khonshu in this series, because just when you think he's a good guy and he's going to redeem himself, he turns around and is a dick again, just like in the comics. He is an asshole all the time, and I really like that the show got that right. Another thing is the costume design. Holy fuck. Like Mark's Moon Knight outfit and Steven's Moon Knight outfit, both. Or Mr. Knight, sorry. But they both look fantastic. Specifically Mark's though, like holy fuck, dude. I wish I could have that costume. I would wear that shit everywhere. I don't care how ridiculous I would look. That shit is so clean. I love it so much. His weapons and his fighting and things like that, and then especially in the last episode when they learned to work together and the personalities had different strengths, I really liked the way that they worked together in that last episode. The way that he's like throughout the show, the way he like flips and throws the crescent darts, and um I love the slow motion shots while he's fighting. You really get good looks at him beating the fuck out of these people, which I love. A lot of people hate when they throw slow motion into the middle of a fight scene. That's a very, very big criticism of Zack Snyder's superhero stuff. But I've always kind of enjoyed it because it gives you those real cool splash page setups. And for those of you who don't know, splash page is if you're reading a comic book and they have that action sequence that's just the fight, or it's just characters teaming up in some cool ass pose or whatever, that's a splash page. So Zack Snyder does that all the time, and so does the show. They constantly set up sick ass shots, um, literally just for the sake to have the cool shots in the show. Another thing specifically about shots that I loved about this show was the cinematography. This is some of the most unique cinematography of the entire MCU. I really like in, I believe it's episode 2, what there's a chase sequence where the hound thing or jackal or whatever it is chasing him, and he's running on the rooftops, and he jumps in front of the moon, and you get this cool ass shot of him jumping from building to building, and then you see him running and you see his reflection in the water with the moon, and it looks so fucking cool, dude. Like just everything about this show is so fucking good. The writing is phenomenal. The relationships between all the characters are pretty well fleshed out. I feel like Arthur I could have used a little more. That's probably my only big character flaw as far as the show goes. If any of the characters have flaws, that's the one. I think that he's very one note, and he's very repetitive, and he has the exact same emotion and mood and portrayal the entire show. It hardly ever wavers. And that's kind of a problem for me because he wasn't really charismatic or anything. He had a decent argument for, if we could see their future and we know that someone's a murderer or a rapist or whatever, and we kill them before they have that chance, then you're sparing whoever they would harm. But at the same time, if that person decides not to make that decision, you're taking that choice away from them, which is Mark's side of the argument. So there is a cool moral dilemma with Arthur's character, but his actual portrayal is very dry, in my opinion. I like Ethan Hawke, but I don't think they gave him enough to do in this show. He wasn't particularly bad in my opinion, but we never really got any real payoff with his character. Even when he's the therapist, he's still that same whispery tone. He doesn't do anything different. His acting portrayal is the exact same from start to finish in this show. Which, I mean, it's fine. A lot of villains are that way, but I would have preferred a little more meat, something for him to really get into, like a really good rage scene, or like an emotional scene or something, just something to make us kind of jump, like with Loki and Thanos and things like that in the MCU, we have villains that we really care about. I did not care about Arthur at all whatsoever. His mission made sense, but his character did not. I did not give a fuck about him at all. I really didn't. you know, he played his part well. He did good with the stuff that was given to him. So I can't blame Ethan Hawke for that because he is a great actor. But I just don't really feel like they gave him a lot to work with. And in terms of acting, um, if Oscar Isaac does not get an Emmy for this show, then that is a crime against humanity. He is so fucking good in this show. To play two people as the same person and play both of them convincingly, and they have their own emotions, their own facial expressions, their own accents, their own speech pattern, their own everything, and he nails it. And I said the same thing with James McAvoy when Split came out, which I know is kind of a sensitive topic, because they painted the identity disorder in a negative way in that movie, but that's a topic for a different time. Performance alone, the fact that James McAvoy could play that many characters in one movie, they all feel different, is impressive. Um, and Oscar Isaac does the same thing here, but his acting, I mean, oh my God, there's nothing I can say that hasn't already been said by other people. He's just flawless from start to finish in this fucking show. He's so good. Everything, the emotion, the comedy, the seriousness, the anger, the just everything, and especially episode 5. I don't know anybody who watched episode 5 that didn't at least tear up once. I've watched a lot of reactions for it because I really loved that episode and I went through and I wanted to see what everybody else thought of it. So I watched a lot of people's reactions and it was the same thing. Everybody was tearing up or full on crying. Some people were bawling their fucking eyes out. Oscar Isaac ripped out everyone's fucking heart with that episode. And especially the scene when he breaks down crying in the street. Like, holy fuck, dude. Um, it's just so good. Everything about him is good. Um, Now moving on, we'll talk about the special effects. The special effects for the show were very good. Khonshu looks fantastic. Amit looks good. Tawaret looks good. She's a big highlight for the last couple episodes of the show. She's very fun. I loved her character, and her look is amazing. They did her very well. Um, but Khonshu, holy fuck, dude! From start to finish, even at the end when he's in the suit, when he's in like the white tuxedo in the limo, which I thought was fucking awesome. Daytime, nighttime doesn't matter. A lot of CGI monsters, when you put them in daytime, they look fucking horrible. Once you see them in like realistic light, and they can't really play with the environmental lighting too much, they tend to look really fucking wacky. And I thought that Khonshu looked just fine in the daylight. There was one thing they set up that was either the most aggressive foreshadowing of all time, or it was setting up something we haven't seen yet. In episode 1, there's a little girl who comes up to Mark, or Steven at the time. It's Steven, sorry. She talks to Steven in the museum, and he explains to them why the heart has to stay in the body to move on to the afterlife. And the little girl asks him, did it suck for you getting rejected from the field of reeds? Which is obviously foreshadowing that Stephen did not get to go to the field of reeds. He ends up going into the Duat and being frozen in sand. Either that little girl has the worst grammar of all time and does not know how to phrase sentences, or she knew some shit that we didn't know. And I want that fucking answer now. Because how fucking cool would it be if we do get a season 2 and that little girl, unsuspecting as fuck, is like the avatar for Anubis or some shit? Like, that would be fucking wild. But crazy theories aside, my overall score for this show, given that the finale for me was really weak, I'll give it like an 8.5. I would have given it a 9 if the finale was as good as any of the other episodes. But I think an 8.5 is pretty safe. If we get a season 2, I would probably lean a little closer to a 9, but we don't have that announcement as of right now while I'm recording this video. Dude, they could announce it fucking 6 hours from now. I don't know. I did like about the finale, by the way. I know I'm jumping around all over the fucking place, but in the finale, they had 2 fake out endings. One where you think the whole thing was just a dream and he's like in his room and he's still tied to the bed. But then there's another one where he's in the asylum. And then you stop for a second and go, wait a minute, was the asylum real? What the fuck is going on? Is he dead again? What is happening? And then he wakes up in bed. And then you're like, what the fuck is going on? So I kind of like that. I thought that that was really clever because it kept you guessing again, only to then give you what you wanted the whole fucking show, the first appearance of Jake Lockley. And I swear to God, if we don't get a season 2, we just never fucking see Jake again, I'm gonna freak out. But that's a big factor into why I don't like this finale, because this is a limited series. If there is no season 2, then we're never gonna see Jake get fleshed out the way we saw Steven. And that's really sad for me, because the way that they handled Steven's arc and why he was created and what part of his trauma specifically he's there for, it was perfect. And not seeing that with Jake and not seeing why Jake exists or what he's for or why he's so against Mark's ideals and things like that, I would be really sad if we never got to see that fully realized. The one thing that Disney Plus has struggled with the most, in my opinion, with all of these shows, is that the show always takes time getting off the ground. It really lets you breathe with the characters. You learn as the characters learn, and you grow with the characters. But then when you get to the finale, they have to throw every fucking plotline in all at once to wrap it up in 45 minutes. And I don't fucking like that. I don't like that at all. It's rushed. It's fucking half-assed, and I hate it. I wish that this show could have been like 8 episodes long. It didn't need to be that much longer, but we needed more time. This finale is very thrown together. And I felt the same way about the Hawkeye ending. I felt the same way about the WandaVision ending. I felt the same way about the Falcon and Winter Soldier ending. It's just very tossed together. I don't hate any of the shows, and this is easily my favorite of the shows. I will say that. Moon Knight is my favorite Disney Plus Marvel show so far. I didn't think that I would like this show as much as I did. I liked the character, but I didn't know where they were going to go for it, and I was a little worried. Overall, my opinion on the show, whether we get a season 2 or not, is positive. But if we don't get a season 2, it's a little bittersweet because I don't like the finale then. So that's my take, guys. Comment down below, let me know what you thought. If you think that the show needed to be longer, if you think that it's fine, if you loved the finale, if you hated the finale, what you did and didn't like from the finale. This is a spoiler review, so if you clicked on this shit, it's in the title, it's in the thumbnail, it says spoiler review. If you clicked on this shit and you read those comments and you find a fucking spoiler, it's not my fault. Let me know what you guys think. Like the video if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys next time.